Will Gauteng Premier David Makhura be recalled to make way for the province's new ANC chairperson, Panyaza Lesufi? Well, the ANC in Gauteng is due to address Makhura's future after holding a provincial executive committee meeting, and that briefing is set to take place tomorrow. Meanwhile, ANC Gauteng provincial chairperson Panyaza Lesufi says investment in local communities is crucial. He was speaking at the commemoration of the 38th year of the Vaal uprising earlier today. It took place in 1984 when there was a stay away due to proposed tariff hikes. Lesufi says they are committed to changing the lives of South Africans. Our reporter Govan Whittles is on that story and joins us now for an update. And Govan, it was about the Vaal uprising commemoration, but it was always predictable that the fate of the Gauteng Premier David Makhura was always going to take center stage. What with the, I mean, few people would have predicted this, or had it been predicted?
It hadn't, especially because David Makhura went into talks with Panyaza Lesufi and Lebo Maile in the run-up to the Gauteng conference to try and bring about some unity. And he said he wanted to stabilize the province before the conference to avoid what's happening now, what appears to be a fallout with some uncertainty, not only about his position, but of course in the regions there are also a number of things happening. Should be pointed out that Panyaza Lesufi, after that commemoration, headed straight for Ekurhuleni, where the Ekurhuleni Regional Conference resumes this weekend and will wrap up. Panyaza Lesufi also saying he's going there to try and foster unity, well aware of the problems that it has. But that's interesting because Panyaza Lesufi today, addressing the commemoration, appeared to outline more than just his vision for the Vaal, but tried to give some hints about his style of governance, particularly emphasis on clean governance, but also about diverting the province's funds to townships and informal settlements unapologetically, saying that that is what this administration needs to be about. And well, Tulasizwe, he sounded like an incoming premier, addressing some of those supporters of the ANC at that Vaal commemoration. But he was very careful in wording how they'll deal with the issue of David Makhura remaining as premier while he is the ANC Gauteng chairperson. We know they've been recalled before in KwaZulu-Natal. Senzo Mchunu was recalled after not making it back as the chairperson of KZN. But here in Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi saying they don't use the word recall, they'll negotiate. And let's take a look at exactly what he had to say about David Makhura.
David Makhura is the premier of our province. As I speak to you, David Makhura is about to leave the country to go and represent our provincial government outside the country. As I speak to you, by the time David Makhura comes back in this particular province, he will still be a premier of our province. What we are going to do is to take the citizens of Gauteng in confidence and share the thinking of the ANC, and that we'll do tomorrow at 12 o'clock at the provincial head office of the ANC to articulate that decision of the PEC.
I don't want to lie, Govan, I did not see this one coming, especially if we take Panyaza Lesufi at his word. Just after being elected, the tributes he was paying to David Makhura, describing him as someone who's a mentor and a father to all of them. There was no hint that we could be here. But the reading that I'm hearing, the dominant reading that I'm hearing, and I don't know if that's the one you are picking up, is that this has less to do with hostility or anything like that, but more to do with the strategy going forward in a province that is so hotly contested ahead of 2024.
It is about the strategy going forward, and Panyaza Lesufi offering some hints again, saying that the ANC in Gauteng will work with whoever is willing to work with them to get their objectives, which is essentially to control the metros and retain control of the province in governance. Also pointing to some of the relationships they've built in Ekurhuleni, saying that they anticipate taking the government there within the next few weeks, tabling a motion of no confidence and hinting towards their cooperative relationship with the EFF. But what's interesting about Panyaza Lesufi's comments about David Makhura is that he stopped short of saying that we're going to recall him as the premier. Instead, he's hinted that they've come to some agreement or made a decision about David Makhura's future, which not only pleases the new leadership with him at the helm, but is also convenient for David Makhura himself. One wonders what those may be, but the precedent that's been set in other provinces has been nominations towards the NEC of the ANC and trying to push former premiers for higher office in the national government. At this point, Panyaza Lesufi really keeping it close to his chest. He's not saying we'll recall him, but he's saying we've made a decision about the recall and we'll tell you about it tomorrow. And
there'll be that briefing tomorrow. And of course, the other person who's playing his cards very close to his chest is President Cyril Ramaphosa, who says they expect a full report as the national officials of the ANC to basically the province or any other province for that matter, any other leadership structure that takes these kinds of decisions to come to them and brief them and give them a full report, motivate why they want to see a change of leadership. Yes. But we were there, Govan, for the commemoration of the Vaal uprising. What came out of that leg of the story? What are some of the highlights that came out?
Obviously commemorating some of the cooperation between the Vaal Civics Association, the ANC, I suppose in exile at that time, 1984, when this uprising happened on the 3rd of September, the UDF still very active at that time, along with the SACP's underground wing. So a lot of the different alliance partners coming together today, commemorating how they used to work together. But the leadership in Sedibeng of the ANC, quite clear that what they need in Sedibeng is effective service delivery. And to that, Panyaza Lesufi again emphasizing that what should be happening is that the government's money should be going into the areas where the help is most needed. And Panyaza Lesufi inferring that you can't rationalize spending on vanity projects while you still have informal settlements or townships, and saying that the government needs to start pouring money into the Vaal in a way which will make a material difference, and saying that his government won't be apologetic about doing so. He also bemoaned the state of the Sedibeng region. We know the problems there, lack of water, sewage running through, service delivery not being up to scratch, Mfuleni itself being under administration since 2018. There does appear to be a pointed attempt to intervene in the municipality. And Panyaza Lesufi believes that begins with this allocation of funds so that the people actually have money to do the work. Let's take a look at what he had to say about this.
The foundation that was laid here that made us to have democratic local authorities in particular. And therefore, we need to come back and invest in local authority, in local communities, and ensure that these local authorities or local communities are better equipped with things that will make things better for them. My big concern is that if we leave this community the way it is not going to be justifiable in years to come to say it was the creation of a previous system. It will be a creation of democracy because we failed to convert it. So our commitment today is that we are now going towards that direction, to change the lives of our people in these communities, to change how these communities look, but most importantly, bring our major investment as provincial government in these communities.